Fight, Sahur.
$1 million podcast.
Yeah.
$1 million podcast. $1 million podcast.
Yeah.
$1 million podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fight, Sahur podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, and I'm joined here with
Eli and Jacob.
And today, we're going to be doing episode 2 of our amazing podcast. And we have a lot to unpack about, this book. We finished it. What are your guys' thoughts on the book?
I'd say it's pretty good. I think it touches on a lot of realistic aspects of police brutality.
Yeah, I think it's a really good story. It's well written. Sorry. Quite interesting. I think it's an important story people should know about things happening.
I too agree with the statement that people should know that. So I think you did very well saying that.
Thank you.
And so now that we all know what we thought, how have your perceptions changed of the book since our last episode? Because to me, it got a little more pattern-ish. It felt more like a pattern. It felt repetitive, which I think is something that maybe could have been changed a little.
Yeah, I kind of... Sorry, I mean to cut you off, but with the end of the book, I don't really like how it ended. I feel like it was kind of unclimactic. There's a lot of things and parts about the story that never actually ended up getting finished, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say my perspective kind of changed from, I guess, just the victim, the victim's perspective. The Rashad had to go through a lot, and he almost didn't even want to do the protest because it just seems like a very stressful event.
Well said, Jacob. So, let's transition into our next part of this episode, the harms of, the book. Because in the book, the most influential harms that we saw were not Paul or Rashad. Physically, there was harm, and it was bad, but it wasn't the biggest. In my own opinion, I think that the biggest harm in the book is society, the internet, and the media just in general. Do you guys agree with that?
Rashad overnight kind of becomes a crazy public figure in just a day, and he doesn't even know it because he's in the hospital trying to recover.
Yeah, he's thrown into it a lot. And when he gets back, he kind of surprised by the amount of people that are...
Yeah, he's shocked by how far he's kind of gone in this whole situation and how the media's portraying it and all that.
Yeah, and how far the whole hashtag Rashad's acting again today has gone.
So, looking back in the book, what do you guys think are some major events within it besides the Rashad Paul incident?
I think some of the major events, or one of them at least, is Quinn, when he is talking to English and all of them, or when he's getting back to doing basketball after everything kind of finished, I guess, and he's in the hospital.
Yeah,
how everyone reacts to him. Yeah,
I'd say another main event would probably be the conflict between Rashad's dad and Spoonie. It kind of shows light on kind of the complicated family dynamics and how there's a lot of tension there.
In my opinion, I think the second biggest conflict besides Rashad and Paul had to be Guzzo and Quinn. Because Quinn and Guzzo, they fought 3 times in a chapter, and it was because of the Rashad Paul incident. It was very connected. And so, for all 3 of your guys' ideas, what characters showed up, and like, are there any similarities across these events?
I guess just the fighting aspect of it, the conflict between characters.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of conflict between different characters in the story.
So that brings us to our next portion of the podcast, which is healing. To make things right, you first must be able to admit your own mistakes and someone else's mistakes. And if this simple idea had been thought of in the book and actually been put into the world of All American Boys, maybe when Paul thought Rashad was stealing, he would have maybe relaxed a little and tried to hear the woman's story about what happened and not instantly go to tackle Rashad. Are there any other examples that you can use this simple idea on in the book where a character could just like really calm down and de-escalate the situation?
Yeah, for sure. One that I was thinking of is the whole conflict between Quinn and Guzzo, for sure, because they used to be friends. You know, I'm sure if they like talked it out, you know, took a step back, kind of thought of it from the other person's view, they could have mended their relationship, I guess,
Yeah,
and
they
not
could've fixed
ended
it.
up like fighting and all that.
I'd say one of the best characters that I saw healing would be Rashad's mother. We see the tension between Spoonie and Rashad's dad, and we see Rashad's mom kind of step in, and she seems to smooth things over, and she also is very reportive of Rashad and his decisions.
Reportive? Why did you say that?
Supportive.
So, we've touched on a couple of topics today in this episode, but this book shows a lot of deeper ideas about systemic racism in America, along with the power given to the police. What are your thoughts on how the book portrays this?
I think we see this with almost like Rashad's doubt that they could win any type of lawsuit against Paul.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it kind of shows what happens in these cases normally, kind of what people expect from the cases.
I completely agree. I think that it shows very well that to someone that is a victim, winning a case this serious could be like impossible. So I think, Jacob, you did very well on saying that. Now, how about the ending? How would you have changed it? Or would you have changed it?
Yeah, I for sure would have changed it to probably, instead of the ending being at the protest, maybe just making it a little bit longer and having the ending actually be like the court, like in court, and him winning or something similar to that. Kind of a more satisfying ending than just lying down.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the whole like lawyer court case thing was very pointless. I feel like it just didn't need to be in the book. Do you agree, Jacob?
Yeah, I'd say that the protests are just so anticlimactic. We get to the point where they're reading out the names and it just ends there. I would have liked to see like maybe some sort of a follow-up, maybe like something about social media online, but it kind of just ends there while they're still doing the protest.
Yeah. So, to close episode 2 of the Fight Sahur podcast, how would you rate this book out of 10?
Honestly, I'd probably give the book like a 7-ish, because it's not like bad by any means. It's not like a bad book. It is interesting. I just think it's really unclimactic.
It's kind of like a cliffhanger.
Yeah. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger with like a lot of loose things. That's like one of my main gripes about the book, I guess. Why I give it a 7.
Jacob?
Yeah, I'd give it a 6. I mean, it was pretty. I'd say it was pretty like action packed, and it kind of kept me hooked the entire time. But yeah, it just leaves you on that really big cliffhanger, and it's yeah.
Yeah, for me at least, I would rate it like an 8. I thought the story was solid. It was easy to follow. I liked how unique it was with the different perspectives. But the ending really like brought it down a little. Just because, yeah, it was a cliffhanger. We don't know what happened with the court case. So, would you recommend this book for others?
Yeah, probably. It's an interesting book, and I think it has a lot of examples of things that do happen in the real world that's important for people to know about.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty impactful book, so I'd recommend it to somebody else, but just left us on that big cliffhanger. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think it's a very realistic story. So if you want realism, then I guess you should get it, but don't really expect an exciting finish to the book. If you want to read this book, it's titled All American Boys. It's a New York Times bestseller from authors Jason Reynolds and Brennan Keeley. Thank you for listening to the Fight, Fight, Fight Sahur podcast. Have a good rest of your day. Bye!
Fight, 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 Sahur. $1 million podcast. Yeah. $1 million podcast. $1 million podcast. Yeah. $1 million podcast.